Dan Campbell. Obviously, this has been discussed at length on different talk shows. It's what's talked about on this show yesterday. This is not the easiest thing to figure out, which is why there's not one common, one very clear belief by everybody, right? Now you're going to get the people that make something out of nothing all the time no matter what. So I can't say 100% of people believe, but if you walk outside, most people would agree that the sky is blue more times than not. You're never going to get us in a situation in sports ever again where you have people believe whether you should go for it on fourth down, kick the field goal, whether you should bunt runners over, who you should hit in certain parts of the batting lineup, whether that matters or whether it doesn't matter. You're going to have people that, quite frankly, don't agree on any of these topics. But if you really break down the football game that was the Lions with their chance to get to the Super Bowl for the first time in history, we can all agree that they had chances to win the game by making plays. Of course, every team can do that. In fact, that happens sometimes. And nobody talks about the decisions that are made by the coach. There's certainly Major League Baseball games that are going to happen for the Cincinnati Reds this year. They're going to win 14-2 or they're going to lose 14-2, and no one's going to say anything about what decisions David Bell made or he didn't make. Now, if they lose 14-2, there will be a few that probably sit there and act like David could have done something. But all in all, a coach's job more times than not, a great coach, and the difference between a good, great, and bad coach, more times than not, are the decisions that they're able to make when it's actually time for them to matter. In regards to game decisions, of course they matter. Of course the program that they run matters. Of course what kind of personnel that they have matters. All of these things matter, we can agree on. But what we can't agree on, for some reason, is that there's this difference between, and again, when I say these things, it doesn't mean that you have to be in that pool of people no matter what. I think there's times where you can be a part of the analytics crowd, but also be a part of, I don't even know what I guess a non-analytics crowd is the term that I guess I'll use in the short interim here. But you can be a part of both at certain times, yes. And I think we can, most rational, most level-headed, most intellectual people agree that using data is a great thing. But the one thing that it seems that some of the analytic folks never want to admit is that this game is played by human beings who are not computers. It's not an algorithm that is guaranteed to be figured out because humans mess it up. That one simple thing takes away at least a sliver of the argument that some of you, and I'm not talking maybe specifically to you, but some people out in the universe seem to believe. There is this thing called momentum in sports. And I'd like for us to at least, on the analytics side of the aisle, to admit that there is something called momentum. Now, if you want to argue they could have kept the momentum if they got the first down and if they'd have kicked the field goal, they would have probably, well, they say probably, by probably, it was definitely, we'll get into the kicking the field goal here in just a second. But if you want to argue that, well, it's not a guarantee that they'd have made the field goal, this, that, and the other, okay. When you start to do that, though, is when I know you just don't want to admit that it was a bad decision. When you want to start suggesting to me that an NFL kicker is going to miss a 45-yard field goal more times than not, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. The kicker that would have walked out there for the Lions, okay, hadn't missed a kick all year, and yes, I get it. He's only kicked 4 times. But the reference point that everyone wants to make back with the analytics is that kicks that he was missing back in 2020. It's 2024. If Joey Votto walks to the plate in 2024 for the Toronto Blue Jays or maybe for the LA Angels or whoever it is, do you think that you want to pull Joey Votto's statistics and what he did 4 years ago as a reason as to why you want to put him in the spot that he's going to be in now? Of course not. If I go out in a first game of a basketball season, and for whatever reason, mentally I'm not there, and I miss 12 free throws in a game in a row, I go 0 for 12. Let's just say, for instance, I don't get fouled that many often, and at the end of the year, I'm 12 for 24 from the line. I haven't missed a free throw, by the way, in a month and a half. But I'm a 50% free throw shooter. Am I really a 50% free throw shooter? At some point, can we at least admit that human beings in general aren't just going to be a math problem? They can't be. And without question, the one argument I have is that if you're going to decide to go for it on 4th down with the opportunity to go up by 3 scores with about, I think there was 22 minutes left in the game, you were going to go up by 3 scores with 22 minutes left in the game, and you decide you want to go for it. And you want to go for it, by the way, to give yourself an opportunity to do what? To get themselves in a better position to kick a field goal? Is that what the goal was? Because you're already struck gold a little bit in the first half. Let's be honest. You scored 24 points against a team that hasn't given up 24 points all year, but 3 times in a full game. And if you're the Lions, you have to start thinking to yourself, you know what, we're kind of playing with house money here. This team's given up the least amount of touchdowns all year long. Is that not part of the analytics? Is it not part of the analytics that you're going up against the baby? If it's not the best defense in the NFL, it's certainly top 3 defense in the NFL. And yes, you had your way. But I would also argue, the last point I'll make about the whole 4th down thing is that the game is officiated differently on 4th down. If it's 4th and 2 late in the game, you're not going to get the same calls as you would get on 3rd and 2 in the middle of the second quarter. And you know why? Because human beings are being the referees. Because they don't, and unless you're the Chiefs, and again, I get it, that was a little bit of a jab. I don't mean to do that. But unless you're the Chiefs, usually they don't throw flags. And they have lately in the NFL, and we all hate them for it.